Okay. Have my way with the cheese.
I guess I'm on pod today. I know it's been a month that I'm podded. Oh yeah, I was talking. I know y'all couldn't understand or hear anything that I was saying because I had the music playing in the background. But look, man, it's been a while. It's been a minute, and I haven't podded in so long. And I just wanted to come on and shake some of the rust off. You know, Big Baby been rusty. And I've been on hiatus, and I've been enjoying my hiatus. Just been taking time for myself, working on school and doing some other stuff. So sorry, but I think I'm gonna get back on a regular schedule. We're not gonna be podding every week, but we are gonna be podding some. Thanks to all the birthday wishes from last week. A big shout outs to TJ and Tamisha. Congratulations on your wedding. I was more than honored to be the best man in that wedding. It was a great time. Shout out to the family, the groomsmen, the bridesmaids, the bride and groom, everybody who was there, man. It was a great gathering of two beautiful people and their beautiful love. But I'm not here to talk about all that mushy stuff today. We're going to talk a little bit about all or nothing behavior. The streets are going to be back on lock because of COVID. Sometimes these experts, man, they're idiots, and, to vote or to not vote. And then we'll get into some other stuff along with that. But hey, it's the big baby. And I'm back. It's been a minute, but I'm back. And I'm actually going to do a pod. Like, I'm not doing an interview. I'm going to do a pod. But I'm by myself. I wanted to talk to y'all about verses, but I'm not, because that I'm not above it, but I ain't talking about no verses. Gucci won, and y'all know why he won. If you think Jeezy won, then you came for the wrong thing. But look, man, my opening monologue for today. I'm going to start my open monologue different than I normally do because I'm going to read a quote. So here we go. Someone being attracted to me is regular. Someone seeing and understanding me is rare. Now, let me tell you what. For somebody to say that on the surface, it makes a lot of sense. Yes. Being attracted to someone is regular. Yeah, because if I look at you, I can see you. Oh, yeah, you're attractive. I'm attracted to you. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know your personality, so I can't be attracted to that. But I can be attracted to your face or your body as soon as I see it. But to walk up to somebody and be like, hey, you know what? I understand you. Duh. You don't. That's stupid. And I saw this on Spiritual World. I steal a lot of stuff from them. But the idea that you are supposed to understand somebody without getting to know them is crazy. Or the idea that you are so dense and difficult to understand that people can't understand you, and that's a good thing, is crazy. If people can't understand you, or they don't understand who you are after getting to know you, that's probably a you problem. Onesies and twosies here, yeah, I get it, that's them. But as time goes on, if you are just difficult to understand or difficult to deal with, that's your fault. That's not our fault. You need to work on yourself. And social media, we got to stop giving people props for being stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, the title of this pod is Sometimes the Experts Are Idiots. And we just can't give idiots a platform to do idiotic stuff and tell them that it's okay. Like, girl, yes, sis, you really told them these guys don't get you. They don't. Yeah, because you can't talk. You don't know what you want. You don't know who you are. How the heck am I supposed to get you or understand you if you don't understand you? Huh? That's like me. You know what? People just don't understand me and all this stuff. And I don't rock with these people. They don't get me. Well, have you talked to them? Have you spent any time with them? No, bro. I ain't never talked to them. Yeah, how do you expect them to like you? You know what I mean? Like, it's just nuts. And I hate you too. But it's just like, man, look, we can't do this. We have to learn how to use our words. And I think so often we've gotten to a place in society where it's okay to be shut off from people and to expect people to just read our minds. Look, I can't read your mind. I don't know what you're thinking. And it don't look all right over here. It looks crazy. You know what I mean? You just look stupid because you can't use your words like a big boy or a big girl and say what it is that you have to say. All right, now let's get into these topics now. Golly, that rant felt good, didn't it? Didn't it feel good to get a big baby rant in? So, all or nothing behavior, man. We live in this world where it's all or nothing. I feel like I talk about this every single time I do a podcast. Is this or is that? It's me or it's you. It's yin or yang. It's up or down. It's left or right. But we all know that is not life. So I was listening to a couple of podcasts this past week, and one was Bill Simmons talking about how some of these teams are making all these mistakes and how if he were a GM, he wouldn't pay big money for players who aren't all-stars. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that sounds good, but sometimes the market makes you have to pay a lot of money for certain players. And then I heard on another podcast, Kevin O'Connor talking about teams making moves for average and not making moves for championships. And what I took from both of those was, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to tank or we're going to be a champion. And that's not life. You know, everybody is not the best of the best, and everybody's not the worst of the worst. Now, should you strive to be the best of the best? Yes. But should you also have the wherewithal to understand that, you know, sometimes people are just better than you. And guess what? You're top 60%. You know what I mean? You know, you in the top 60, but you ain't in the top, you know, you ain't at the top of the top. You know, some people are, you know, in the top 20%, others are in the top 1. So the idea that it's championship or bust is crazy. The idea that it is all or nothing is crazy. There is so much that happens in the middle, right? Like, it's just like the people who want to poo-poo on people who stay in their hometown. Guess what? Most of America doesn't move 50 miles away from where they came from. Now you have a small group of people who go far away and never come back, and then you have another group of people who actually never leave. But guess what? Most of us are just average. I like to say it's the 90-10 rule, right? We have 90% of us in here fighting, and then there's 5% here, and there's 5% there. Those are the cream of the crop and the bottom of the slop, you know, slop of the slop, cream of the crop, slop of slop. Most of us aren't either. Most of us are somewhere in here trying to find our place. And so we have to understand that there is nuance to life. You know what I mean? Nuance. Everything is not good or bad, yes or no. Sometimes it's maybe. Or maybe it's yes today, but it's no tomorrow. But it's no tomorrow because of I got this going on. I can't fit that in. It's not that I don't care about you. It's not that I don't want to support you. It's not that I want to be here for you and do whatever it is. It's just no. Like, it bleeds into this politics. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And it's just toxic. It's more toxic than the stuff that y'all are calling toxic because this is what's being fed to us. Everything is left side or right side, and it's not that, man. Like, there are people that I know that I disagree with, and we can disagree about 5 things, but then agree on 10 things. So do I hate them for that? No. Like, I just can't understand this all or nothing behavior. And I continue to talk about all or nothing behavior because most of us are influenced by people to think that it's all or nothing, and it's not. We're not the all or nothing. Look at yourself. Look at the people around you. I bet you there is nuance to your relationships. I bet there is layers that you all have to peel back to get to what's right, to get to who you are, and you understand that, hey, he's over here on this, and I don't want to touch that. I'm not there with them. No. But it's okay because I still know where they're at on this other stuff. But yeah, with our sports, with our politics, we think it's all or nothing. It's tank or championship. And life is not tank or championship. Because think about it. If you're trying to build a winning culture, if you're trying to be successful, are you only going to make moves that get you to the top of the top? And if the move does not make you number one, you're not going to make the move. Okay, guess what? You won't be making moves. You'll constantly lose, and you'll have a losing mentality, a losing culture. And people don't want to be a part of a losing culture. Nobody wants to be a loser or associated with a loser. But guess what? If you're average, some people go, you know what? If I can come here, you know what? We can be above average. And I got some people over here. They see the momentum over here. They like how we rocking. And then if we get them over, we're gonna be great. And now we're gonna work together. We're gonna build chemistry. We're gonna build a culture, and then we're gonna be amazing. And that same thing can work in every facet of our lives, because sports is a microcosm of society. And I think it is important for us as people who live the life, because the media, which I'm the media, has so much to say, but the media is not always doing. The media is just talking about what you're doing. They're telling you how you could be better at what you're doing, or how bad or how good or how well you're doing what you're doing, but they're not the actual doers. They say those who can't teach, those who can't media. and as we can't let the media, look at me being the media saying you can't let the media, you can't let the polarizing media make your nuanced life polarizing, because it's not. It is just not. It's not this or that. It's not all or nothing. But we're going to get back to some of this a little bit later, because I'm going to talk about the streets on lock, man. It's looking like the streets is back on lock. From what I'm seeing, I think they're trying to lock us down again because of COVID. Because cases are going up again because I guess, I don't know, we're testing people more. And all I'm saying is I'm nervous. I'm super nervous because what in the world are we going to do? It's been 8 months and I'm still in my house. I come out to grocery shop. Occasionally I'll go out and shoot 18 holes terribly. And I will play a little bit. I used to play a little basketball. I don't even do that no more. So what are we supposed to do on lock? And I'm not going to go too deep on this one. I just think we need to be careful. And I think we got to learn how to live through this pandemic. And do I think the pandemic is real? Absolutely. Do I think that we're handling it the right way? Absolutely not. Do I think we can afford to shut down our economy again? Hell no. But again, from the polarizing side, I don't think it's left or right. I don't think this should be a political issue. I think this is an issue that should be handled by experts, medical experts, along with economists, along with sociologists and psychologists and any ologist that you can think that matters, because it has a lasting effect on all of us. Look here, we're playing college football today. We can fly on an airplane, but we can't go to the bar. We got to sit outside of the restaurant, depending on what part of the country you're in. I just think we got to find a way to get around this. And I think the important part is for us to take care of ourselves, take care of our bodies. If you work on your mental health, you work on your spiritual health, you work on your physical health. More importantly, your physical health on this one. You work on your physical health, and maybe it doesn't stop you from contracting the virus, no, but it helps you equip yourself to fight the virus if you get that, because I think that is so important. We focus so much on not getting it, but we're not talking about what we can do to fight it and be healthy. And that goes back to the all or nothing behavior. It's like, oh no, we can't get the virus, so we got to stay in the house. No. How do we live with this virus? Because it's not going to leave us. How do we live with this virus so that we can live our lives? Because the idea of just living in fear, like what have we ever lived in fear of as in this country, America? Do we live in fear of anything? Now we live in fear of COVID. Come on, man. It's folks out here driving. It's people who took their driving test 40, 50 years ago, ain't wearing their glasses, got cataracts, and they driving. But y'all get on the road every day. Y'all ain't get on the road. It's somebody drunk right now. I mean, drunk as hell, stinking. And they behind the wheel of a car right now, and we let them drive. Why? Because we've put in measures to try to control those risks, but we accept the risk that we take when we hit the road. We have to do the same thing with COVID. We can't lock the streets down, man. We have to find a way, a responsible way to live with COVID. It's just like a bad roommate, bro. Like you can't always just kick your roommate out because you need somebody to meet that rent. So you just gotta same thing with COVID, bro. Like COVID paying rent. So we just gotta make sure that we can learn how to live with COVID so we can keep it pushing. But you know, man, this takes me into sometimes the experts are idiots. They told Steph Curry back when he was coming out of the draft, I remember Jay Bill saying this, was that he has to work on a shot selection because the way he was playing just wasn't going to translate to the NBA game. And, you know, he wasn't highly recruited out of high school. And, I mean, he should have been the first overall pick. And he got passed on twice by Minnesota, who also drafted point guards. Hell of an organization they have there. But the point that I'm saying about sometimes the experts are idiots. Sometimes people are before their time. Sometimes the things that people do, the way they think is different from the status quo. And because it's different from the status quo, we want to say that it's wrong. We want to say that it's that they have to adjust when actually they're ahead of us and it's time for us to adjust. So I use Steph Curry because he's a great example of this. But another person who fits into this is Dave Chappelle. When he walked away from his $50 million, we said he was crazy. Like, oh my God, how can you walk away from all that money? Chappelle is crazy. He don't know what he's doing. He's on drugs. He's going off the face of the earth. No, man. He just was in a different space. He was light years ahead of many people. He was somebody, he before the player empowerment era, where he was somebody that said, hey, I know my worth. If you're not going to give me what I'm worth, I'm not going to give you my product or my service. Will you be okay as a big organization? Sure. But are you going to take a hit when I leave? Yeah, obviously. But am I going to let you taint what it is that I bring to the table or taint who I am to my people? If I can't look in the mirror and be happy with myself, am I going to continue doing what I'm doing? Absolutely not. And now we're in a place where who do we listen to? So much of what we consume and take as gospel is on social media. Now, there's a large portion of the world who's not on social media, and they still consume forms of mainstream media. But how many of us truly trust mainstream media? Because we also know that they have an agenda, and their agenda is not necessarily informing the people. And they tell us we should go to the news to get our information. But if I go to a news channel and almost everything I see on the network is an opinion-based show, then what the hell am I watching? So I say sometimes the experts are the idiots because they're not really as smart as we paint them out to be, but they're in a position in which we respect. So we think that we're supposed to listen to them because no one would say, hey, you should listen to an athlete or you should listen to a comedian to get a political opinion, to get an informed business decision. You should listen to them on how to lead your life because, oh, he's just a dumb comedian. Oh, he's just a dumb jock. That's what the experts once told us. But that's not true. Again, we talk about those people who are in that 5%, the cream of the crop, right? Not the bottom of the slop, but the cream of the crop, right? Guess what some of those people fall into? They are those people. And I've came on here and said, hey, we got to stop worshiping celebrities just because they're celebrities and not necessarily listen to them all the time. And I'm sitting here and I'm questioning myself because why I've been wired to think this way that, oh, he's just an actor. Oh, he's just an athlete. But if you think about people who are successful, who are at the top of what they do, I'm not talking about your average person who's just there and they're talented. But I mean, the successful ones, the ones who have diversified their options, the ones who can dibble and dabble in different things like your LeBron Jameses of the world, those types of people. it's okay to listen to them every now and then because the people that they tell you to listen to are, I don't know. I've just been consuming so much media lately, and I've been listening to a lot of sports podcasts, which I do, and I hear them talk about players and how players are this type of person or that type of person. I go, maybe they are, but you don't understand the context. You don't understand where they're coming from. You don't understand the person, right? Because they told us Lamar Jackson should play running back when he came out of college, and then he turned around and won an MVP. They didn't like the way that Patrick Mahomes played the game of football, and now he's the MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, and he might do both this season again. So sometimes those people whose voices that we listen to, we probably shouldn't, because they are experts in their way of thinking. But guess what? The world is changing every day, and they're not changing with the world, because see, here's what happens. If they have to adjust to the world, then they're no longer experts, and they don't want to lose their power. And that's what we're seeing today in politics, right? We're living politics in a social media world, and it's so different than when the Constitution was written, right? We used to think, I tell you, the only things that don't get better, they get better with time, are wine, Michael Jordan, and the Founding Fathers. Everything else eventually became obsolete, and the next version got better. This computer that I have right now, this laptop that I'm recording from, is better than a laptop that I recorded from 3 years ago. And better than the desktop that I had in my mom's house 12 years ago, 15 years ago, right? The computer's getting better. Our TVs are getting better. Our phones are getting better. Each iPhone gets better with each version. But yet, we say, you know what? The way we were told to live our lives in 1783, and the way we were told to govern in 1783 is the best way in which we should govern. And I just don't know about that. Now, I'm not saying we need to rip up the Constitution and uprising. No, I'm not saying that at all. But here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that nobody back then knew what social media was. Nobody knew what Twitter would be. Nobody knew that you could just get on here and say whatever you wanted to say. And if you have a blue check mark by your name, what you say then becomes valid. And now these platforms are monitoring what people say and fact checking it. And now your freedom of speech is being restricted. Should it be restricted? I don't know, because I'm all for let people say what they want to say and do what they want to do and deal with the consequences. But I'm also mindful that there are influential people who say things that may or may not be true. And I'm not talking about true from their perspective, right? Just outright falsities. And they put that out there, and then it gives it legs. And what we're seeing today is people using falsities, and it is watering down our democracy. It is weakening our democracy. And I don't know how we get there. I don't know how we get to a place to where we can have the democracy that we believe that we have in a social media era. I think there needs to be some fixing. Now, through the system that we have, the bureaucracy, the fixing ain't gonna happen, because the bureaucracy is set up. It was set up to operate the way that it was built to operate, right? So the changes that we want to happen aren't easy for those of us who are radical and want immediate and effective change. That can't happen. There's steps. And why? Because maybe because we're so fast moving and microwave now, we need something that is stable to keep us afloat, right? Because if everybody's all over the place moving back and forth like this, we don't have any stability and we have nothing, because everything is constantly changing and we need some constants. So maybe the constant is this bureaucracy that we have. But it looks like this bureaucracy is being ripped at its seams. It's being ripped at its seams by a lot of powerful people from all sides, from left and right, from top and bottom. And the question I ask, is this what we need? Do we need the constant, or do we need something that adjusts with our behavior? And that takes me to my final point: to vote or not to vote. And there are some of us out there, and this is now I'm talking to Black America. A lot of y'all, I ain't gonna say us because I voted. A lot of y'all didn't vote, and y'all said y'all didn't vote because what does it matter? This system hasn't done anything for us, or hasn't done what it should for us, so we shouldn't vote. So my question is, what do you do? Where do you go? You leave America? Okay, where do you go? You're going to fall under a system. Maybe that system is better for you. Or you say, hey, we can build our own communities within this society, and we don't have to deal with all that extra stuff. It's like, hey, defund the police because they don't care about us. We don't need police. Okay, so when you build your own community, do you need safety? Do you need police officers? You need a fireman. You need some form of government. So what ends up happening is you create a society, your own society, different from the one that you just left, but many of those ideals and values are there, and you want power and you want influence. So here's the thing, though. Those societies require money. And the way that the black dollar spins tells me that as a whole, we're not prepared to build our own self-sustaining communities. Now, don't take that as me saying that it shouldn't be done, because here's what I do believe. I do believe that we should build our own sub-communities inside the mega community in which we live in. Because for me, the idea of living in a society that is people who look like me, act like me, and think like me, that's not for me. I want a diverse society. I want people who are different from me. I want challenges day in and day out. I don't want to live in an echo chamber. My group texts are my echo chambers, okay? And I lied. Those aren't even echo chambers. They are to a degree. But anyways, I don't want to live in a place where what I do is always right. I want to be challenged. I want difficulty. Now, I don't want the difficulties that I'm having to deal with in current society. Like, golly, being a black man in America is tough. Don't get me wrong. And I think there's a lot that needs to be done here. But I think that if we are going to build our own societies, we got to look at what it actually takes for it to be self-sustaining. And I think there is space within America for us to have what we want and what we need, but it definitely starts with relying on ourselves, because relying on the government and only the government will set us back another 50 years. If you think about the last time we looked to the government to solve problems in our community, we got the crime bill of the early 90s. And before that, Brown versus Board of Education was great to allow us integration. But what happened when we got integrated, we left our ingenuity behind. So they gave us integration, but we left ingenuity behind us. And I think we can't do that. We lost our businesses because we said, oh yeah, we can go to the mainstream business now and work there. But now what do you own? Now, don't get me wrong. I know that some things were taken from us. I know that there were hurdles put in a way that made it difficult for us to be successful, and having the ability to cross over to other races, to other communities, to offer our services and goods were difficult. You got economies of scale here, and guess what? If they're already a bigger company and they have a bigger client base, they can do more than what we can do. I understand that. But again, the last time we asked the government to make decisions for us, they made the wrong decision. So I think we have to find that happy balance between working with our government, because our government should reflect what the people, not just a small group of people, which it represents, but looking out for the majority, while still having a certain level of individuality and making sure that we're holding ourselves accountable and doing it what it is that we need to do. But I'm going to tell you, you should vote. Why should you vote? Because guess what? It controls your taxes. Guess what? That's your money. That's money out of your pocket. You should vote because there are ordinances that can affect your day-to-day life. Guess what? Each and every election cycle, there's a state, there is a community putting a cannabis-related initiative on the ballot. You should vote for it. Because guess what? Maybe that legalizes something that you like to use that's illegal. Maybe that stops someone you know from being wrongfully put into the criminal justice system. Understanding that you have a voice, and your voice, using your voice properly, can make changes is important, but you just have to be mindful of the changes that you can impact. Now think about this. Think about how Georgia flipped in this election. Why did Georgia flip? Because Stacey Abrams did what she did. She felt like she got robbed out of an election, and she said, I'm not going to run away from this. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to fly away. And she got thousands of Georgia voters registered, and it changed what the state looked like. And because she changed what the state looked like, it goes, oh, wow, I did not realize that there were more people who had this similar thought process that I have. And maybe we have something here. Maybe we have some momentum. But we wouldn't have known that had she not been active and got people out to vote. And I think we have to do more than voting, obviously, but you have to participate in the system because closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard. The squeaky wheel is the one that gets the oil. So if your wheel ain't squeaking, you ain't getting no oil. Now, if you know how to go get the oil yourself, you go get the oil your damn self. But if you don't know, if you can't get the oil yourself, you gotta tell somebody, hey, oil me up. Wayne, need some oil. Good. And then the 10-man is back to action. And we have to be the same way in our community. Do I understand why people don't vote and they're politically apathetic? Absolutely. But for you who are politically apathetic, what are you doing? And what are your expectations? Are you expecting the government to change your life? Because if you are, you're wrong. You have to be the change that you want to see. You have to be the one that changes your life. You see what Dave Chappelle did. You see Chappelle went up in Ohio, started doing those outdoor shows and all of that stuff amidst the pandemic. And guess what? He found a way to make money. Because he said, guess what? I make money touring. I'm not going to lose my money touring. And that opened up avenues and doors for countless other comedians, countless other entertainers to find a way to work through the pandemic. Because look at that. Look at here. If we sit around and wait on the government, we're going to be locked down forever. So you can't count on the government, but you can also use what it offers for you to your advantage. But you can't use it properly if you don't participate, if you don't have a voice that is heard. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. And as I close out here, I just want to say a few words. I typically don't do stuff like this. But look, Donald Eli, don't produce my show. And I told you this privately, now I'm going to tell you publicly. Don't produce my show. I talk about what I want to talk about when I want to talk about on this podcast. You wanted me to talk about voter fraud, but you didn't even show me evidence. And that's the erosion of our democracy that I was talking about earlier with the experts being idiots. Y'all want to call fraud, but you can't show me fraud. Do I think fraudulent things happen in elections? Absolutely. You got people hand counting votes. Millions and millions of votes are being counted by hand. It is 2020. You know how ass backwards that is? Very much so. Do I think bad things, nefarious things happen? Absolutely. Do I think there is a human error that happens and there are mistakes being made? Absolutely. But do I think it exists on both sides? Yes. And until you show me and prove to me where widespread examples of fraud happened all over, not just in the specific places that you want it to be, because it supports your argument, get the fuck out of my face and get the fuck out of my inbox. And if you don't like it, you ain't got to watch the show. I produce my show for me, my guests, and most importantly, my fan base, to try to spread a message based on knowledge, based on facts, based on analysis, and some predictions. Am I wrong? Hell yeah, I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. But guess what? I'll come on here and I'll tell you, hey, I was wrong there a couple months ago. I said this and I was wrong. But to come in and try to tell me, I would never listen to your show again. Bye. I've invited you on here multiple times and you've been running. What was 21 saying? You my speaking, but you was running from it. You was running from the smoke. So don't come in the inbox and want to tell me that you should do this, you should do that. Hell, you should come up here and talk to me. Come say what you got to say in front of the people. You try to say I was scared of you. Scared of who? This platform is open for everybody. But look, I just had to step out of character for a hot second. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. And it's that time of year when friends are here. It's almost Christmas time, and I hope you all have a great holiday time. And I'll be back sometime soon. Love you all. Big baby.